Am I the only one that thought what I'm thinking, or did you think it too? Bubba Wallace, the only black American to be an official driver within NASCAR, who is driving now under the decal under the banner of Black Lives Matter. It was been since the George Floyd killing and civil unrest in our nation that NASCAR decided that Confederate flags would be banned at all NASCAR events. Not only will they not be flown by the actual race tracks themselves or by any of the exhibitors, but even as a fan, you can't be wearing one on your person. You can't bring one into an event. And all of this was, to show solidarity, to show empathy, sympathy, and to, be opposed to racism. So then Bubba Wallace apparently finds a noose in his garage where his car was being kept, and right away the hysteria began. Obviously, these no good redneck NASCAR fans are trying to intimidate him, trying to scare him. They're just showing what we knew them to be: white supremacist, KKK on wheels, yada, yada, yada. Now, this was before any investigation had been done. This was before anything was looked into. And I have to be honest with you. When I first heard this, and I'm not a NASCAR fan, so I have no dog in this hunt whatsoever. Personally, I'm probably about to make some NASCAR fans mad with what I'm about to say. I don't find it all that interesting. Ooh, they're making a left turn. I wonder what's going to happen next. Oh my God, another left turn. I can't believe it. You can walk away from a NASCAR race. Go do something else, like go mow your lawn, come back in the house, and if the race is still on, wow, look at all those left turns I missed. It's just not my thing. Never has been. I like cars, but NASCAR, whatever. I've been to stock car races, out in rural communities where they still have little dirt tracks. I've been to those, support, a couple of locals, but other than that, that's just not my thing. Well, when I first heard this story about, they had put a noose, I'm thinking, all right. Now, in this climate right now where we have all of this civil unrest, rioting, protesting, looting, burning, etc., 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 I'm thinking, all right, who was really this stupid to do this? And then I thought this. Did he do it himself? Now, come on. Don't tell me I'm the only one that thought that. Don't tell me you weren't thinking Jussie Smollett. Or should we say Jussie Smollett? You remember him. Remember? He was the actor, allegedly, from the TV show Empire, who decided to take a stroll one night at 2 o'clock in the morning when it was 25 below zero in the city of Chicago to go to Subway to get a sandwich, because I know when it's 2 in the morning and I'm hungry and it's 25 below zero outside, my first thought is to put a coat on and go outside to satisfy my hunger. Yeah, not happening. I could find something in the refrigerator. I could find something in the food pantry, something to satisfy the munchies at 2 a.m., especially if it's 25 degrees outside and I'm not getting into a warm vehicle and driving somewhere. I'm going to walk in the windy city when it's 25 below zero, 2 o'clock in the morning. And you remember he was supposedly then, attacked and beat up by a couple of dudes wearing MAGA hats and being told he was in MAGA country. I have lived in Chicago. I have worked in Chicago. I can tell you that though not everyone there is a radical left-wing loon, it is certainly not MAGA country. No, nay, never has been. So, right from jump, the story was a little bit off. And of course, the story. It turned out to be just a bunch of bunk. He paid these guys. He was hoping to improve his real estate as an actor on the TV show Empire, that it would show the producers, it would show, the guys that write the paychecks that, he is popular. He is, people know who he is. And then, of course, it was also, again, let's create more Trump hysteria. Well, before any investigation had been done, before the FBI had a chance to share its findings, Bubba out there sharing with the world that, this noose had been left for him. And of course, the media did what the media does. They went into full-blown hysteria. And then the FBI comes out and says, no, this was a rope used to pull down garage doors. That's all this was. And it's actually been there since 2019, 2017, depending on which reports you read. I remember thinking when I first heard about this, okay, this is NASCAR. Obviously, even before all of this civil unrest and all of this stuff, NASCAR, a multi-billion-dollar sport. Obviously, NASCAR tracks, one of the things that they are very concerned with is security, vandalism, theft. So certainly there have to be security cameras. Come on, we live in a world where every place has security cameras. I pastor a church. We have security cameras. Security cameras at every point of entry, any place of vulnerability or of where we have deemed, high-level safety concern, like in the classrooms and areas where we have children, even in the main auditorium. There are cameras around the property, and they run 24/7, and they are motion activated, and we have a video archive, I should say a digital video archive of what takes place. And I'm thinking, well, if a couple of bonehead rednecks decided to make a statement that this guy's been nothing but trouble for NASCAR, man, and now we can't have our rebel flag, and it's all his fault, and they decided, to leave him a noose. Where's the security footage? Where's the video footage? It's not like you can escape, and even if you disable one, there's so many cameras now everywhere, it's virtually impossible to get away with this kind of stuff. NASCAR coming out and saying, when we find out who did this, it's a lifetime ban from NASCAR. And the FBI said, no, this is a rope used to pull the garage door down. Now, again, the lying legacy, corporate, corrupt, mainstream media have already whipped this into a frenzy, already throwing more gas on fire. Look what's happening in Atlanta right now. They've taken the property where the Wendy's was that the last shooting took place. Have we lost our collective minds as a society? Why are we not stopping this? I'll tell you why. Personal experience happened to me today. I have I have two adult children who are really what I refer to as coffee snobs. They really are. They're into, finely brewed coffees, whether they're espressos, lattes, etc. All of that, those overpriced coffee shops, the not Starbucks, which is just overpriced, mop water. But I'm talking about, the real mom and pop coffee shops that are real high end and, $8.50 for a coffee. Yeah, that's just not me. Now, they're into that. In fact, my son, who is in the ministry, also is a barista. Okay. Good. I'm glad he likes it. I'm glad that works for him. That's just not me. That's just not my taste. I like Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Good old DD. Brew it up in my Keurig. And when I occasionally want to go out and just get a coffee that I don't brew myself, I go to the gas station and they have a cappuccino that I like. And I realize it's not real cappuccino. And probably with my type 2 diabetes, I shouldn't be drinking it. But I get a 12 ounce of it. And, it's like my special little treat. I have the one, and then I won't have one for several days. And I behave myself the rest of the day. I'm drinking water right now. But I stopped at the gas station to get this cappuccino. It's a buck. There was a guy panhandling outside the gas station. He happened to be, you guessed it, was black. And he and I had an interaction, about a week ago. Same scenario. He's standing out there and he's like, "Hey, brother, can you help a friend out in need?" And, I had a couple of bucks on me and I helped him. Now, I was all prepared because I don't know if you could see this or not, I'm wearing there it is. I'm wearing my official pastor shirt today. It's Wednesday, so I'm out on official duty. And I was going to offer to help him, not with money, but with some spiritual counsel. Like, what can I do to help you permanently? Because if you're out here again looking for a handout, Houston, we have a problem. I want to help you. Now with just another handout, but can we break this cycle that you're in? What can I do for you to get you some real help? Well, as soon as he made eye contact with me, he booked immediately. And he knew that I was going to do something like that. But that happened right after he had just hit somebody else up walking out of the store for their pocket change. So I went in, I got my coffee, set it on the counter, and the guy there and I are conversing a little bit. And I said, "Hey, I'm not trying to make a big deal about this, but I said, you do know you've got a panhandler out there." He goes, "Yeah, I know. He shows up every couple of days." And he said, to be quite honest, he said, I don't know what to do. I don't want to call the police because he said, if they come and it becomes a thing, do I want my store burned down? Bum, ba-dum, bum. You understand what's happening right now? We, the law-abiding, have no protection because you think that other managers of places like Wendy's and McDonald's and all these other places, you think if they have someone, especially of color, if they pass out in the drive-thru, think they're going to call the police, or they're just going to say, "Well, drive-thru's closed for the rest of the night till he wakes up and drives off"? And this is the level of stupidity, and this is idiocracy. We have allowed law and order to devolve. This is incredible. And so, immediately, everybody jumps on the bandwagon, what a bunch of racist no-goods NASCAR are, and, Bubba Wallace, he's like a hero for trying to be there. And now we find out it was a rope used to pull the garage door down. But apparently Wallace is defiant. He says, "No, it's a straight-up noose. This was not some rope designed to pull the garage door down." But again, see, everybody raced to judgment before the findings actually came in. And of course, obviously now the FBI will be, we'll have to, disband them because they didn't bring back the narrative you wanted to hear. If anybody's got a beef with the FBI right now, it ought to be the president, who was the victim of the FBI being used by the deep state, the ruling oligarch, the ruling class, to pull off a coup against him and his administration. But you don't hear the president calling for the disbanding of the FBI. So where is all this insanity going to end? It ends when we demand that it ends. We have to demand that our political leaders do the right thing. Like, number one, enforce the law. And I don't care what color the person or the perpetrator is, enforce the law. And when you've got these squatters and plotters and, creating all of these neutral zones, you do understand if Joe Biden gets elected, America will be one gigantic neutral zone, cop-free zone. Why, we won't be the United States of America anymore. We'll be the United States of Chaz, or the United States of Chop. depending on, which slang we're using today. That's where this is. And I get why the president is allowing this to be prolonged, because, again, this is all happening in democratically controlled municipalities like Atlanta, Georgia. But at the same time, while on the one hand, I get it, we've got to have law and order. Now, National Guard troops have been dispatched around Washington, D.C. to protect all of the monuments. That's good. And we have the governor basically telling any radicals that they will not be coming and defacing in any way Mount Rushmore. In fact, Governor Noem said he will not stand for the radical rewriting of history. Good for him. Good for him. This is going to continue until we demand that our politicians make it stop. Clear that zone by the Wendy's in Atlanta. Clear out Chop, Chaz, whatever it is in Seattle. Defend monuments. And I talked about this at length yesterday, so I'm not going to cover it again. Get my monologue from yesterday. We are watching the erosion, the erasing of not only American history, but in some cases, minority history. Again, Land O'Lakes decides we're going to take the Indian girl off of our logo. You talking about, racial sensitivity. Yet, the Native American girl on your packaging was designed by a Native American artist who created her in a natural setting, wearing authentic garb right down to, and I wouldn't know this being a white guy, even the beadwork was the right coloring and everything was authentic. And it was designed, and he said it was designed to bring the white culture and the Native American culture together. And so Land O'Lakes decides, well, we don't want to be accused of being, like anti-Indian, so they take it down. And do you understand what's driving even like the taking down of the statue of Teddy Roosevelt outside the museum in New York City, which, by the way, they're going to replace with a statue of Robin Williams? Psst, Robin Williams did blackface. I bet they forgot that. Sometimes I stagger to find the wording to put together at the level of just complete moronism that we're all being engulfed in. But when we're taking down statues, when we're destroying our history, when we are just hell-bent on this cultural civil war, which the Marxists are loving, because this is the way they cause the country to implode from within so they can take over. I'm sorry, Bubba. I think you did it. I think if that wasn't really just a rope meant to pull the garage door down, I think you did it. Or, if you didn't do it, you were really hoping to really use that as a way to inflict even more change on NASCAR. Another political narrative, another win, another liberal takeover of something. I remember watching the classic baseball documentary by Ken Burns on baseball. I love the game of baseball. But even as a young man watching that, they're interviewing Mario Cuomo and all of these liberal commentators and historians. And I thought, what? How about interview some actual baseball players? How about interview some Republicans and conservatives that like baseball? And I thought at the time, why don't you even interview a guy like George W. Bush? He actually owned a baseball team, a major league baseball team. But they tried to hijack games, just like they've hijacked the schools. And the reason we've got the problems we've got right now with the kids are running wild in the streets is because they're idiot morons who haven't been taught anything. And they've been given a bunch of revisionist history crapola. Now, I'm going to say something here that's going to fly against the grain and everything that you're hearing right now. No one is saying that there is still not yet room for improvement in the United States of America when it comes to equal application of the law, in particular for minority people. But let's get real. Let's get really, really right down to it. Black people in this country are the most prosperous black people on the planet. Don't believe me? Well, as some of these multi-million-dollar athletes, rap artists, etc., what other country would you like to go to where you think you could earn the money you earn here doing what you do? Even if you feel there's another country that's more equitable, more equal, etc., 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 can you make the kind of money there that you can here doing what you do? So don't feed me the narrative that there's been no improvement over the last 50 years. That is absolute revisionist, hogwash, bullhock. And enough. Enough. Now, Bubba, don't know if you did it or not. I'm having this strong inkling you are. And the fact that you're a little bit ripped, that the FBI has determined this was a rope to pull down the garage door, and you being so adamant, no, it's not, no, it's not, no, it's not. Well, is that because you made it at your kitchen table? And then put it in your garage so that you could have this issue, so we could keep the narrative going? Goodbye, Bubba. Goodbye. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and a great big like, and, right back at you. Hey, make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, and also make sure that you have smacked the bell and clicked the word all to get notification of my next rant.